There's so much pressure in the world today with this conversation about women submitting, submissive wife, submitting woman, submissive woman, yada yada. But nobody's talking about men submitting. And today I want to talk about obedience as one of the lessons I've learned from my husband and how I've seen that he has constantly submitted to God, to the authority of heaven. Basically, what is obedience? Obedience is compliance to an order. It's submission to authority. By the way, today is day 2 and I'm going to be sharing lessons. Over the next few days, I'll be sharing lessons that I've learned from my husband about life and leadership. And today's lesson is obedience. Like I said earlier, obedience is compliance to order and it's submission to authority. When God gave him the vision for Light Life Church, it was a couple of years before the church actually started. That's because even at the time he was in Bible school, he wasn't ready to go start a church. There were things that he needed to do. But then after Bible school and after working as a pastor and now working in academia as sub-dean academics for the Redeemed Bible College, God told him it was time. And from the time God told him it was time until the time we actually started was about 2 years or maybe even more. And that's because obedience is not easy. Obedience is very hard. But we must always understand that on the other side of obedience are people who are waiting to be blessed. On the other side of obedience are people whose lives literally depend on the vision. Sometimes we assume that when we obey God, everything just starts to align, everything just starts to work out. But the reverse is the case a lot of times. And in our own story, it was the reverse that was the case. Obeying God did not necessarily mean that we were preserved from challenges. It came with a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety for me. I like that when he finally got that push, that nudge, that it was indeed time, he told me and gave me a benefit of a doubt. He gave me an opportunity to make my own choice. But there was a beautiful example in front of me. That's his example of leaving everything he had worked for, everything, and facing this assignment that God had called him to. Seeing him submit to God's instruction, seeing him submit to authority, seeing him just comply with what God was telling him to do was all I needed to walk in that path. He led by example in that regard. And I just want to encourage you today to obey whatever God has told you until the next instruction comes. I've learned over time that with God, it's obey the last order, obey the last thing he told you to do, and then eventually you get the next instruction for the next assignment. I hope this has blessed you today. I'll see you tomorrow with another life and leadership lesson. God bless you. Bye.